Who wins and loses when short sellers, social media, and retail investors collide? That is the hot topic on Capitol Hill today. The new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission fielding questions from the House Financial Services Committee about the wild moves we saw in stocks like Gamestop earlier this year. So will the SEC change its rules to make it tougher to gamify Wall Street trading? Here to help answer that question, NBC News national political reporter Sahil Kapoor. Sahil, a new SEC chair Gary Gensler saying in his prepared remarks that a lot of the SEC rules that were designed to protect investors were written way before trading went online. So what is the SEC going to do to adapt here?
And this was the biggest part of Gensler's message, Allison, that the SEC needs to revisit its rules in order to adapt to a situation where investors can be protected from the kinds of wild swings we saw in GameStop stock earlier this year. Let's have a listen to what Gensler said at the hearing.
The SEC must remain attuned to rapidly changing technologies with an eye to freshening up our rule set where appropriate to continue to achieve our mission. If we don't address this now, the investing public, those saving for future retirement and education, may shoulder the burden later.
And this, of course, dovetailed an age-old disagreement between Democrats and Republicans on the panel. Democrats who were saying there need to be tougher rules on this to protect investors, to protect ordinary people, while Republicans were warning that stricter rules, elevated regulations could only make it more difficult for people to enter the market and ordinary people to start investing and to try to save for their future.
Sahil, there should also be rules about having to say GameStop stock on air. It is one of the hardest things that I have had to say all year. It's impossible to not mix the two of them up. I do it every time we do this story. So let's talk a little bit more about GameStop. Short selling was a big part of the crazy moves we saw in GameStop's stock in March. For our viewers, short selling is when you borrow stock and then you sell it, hoping you could buy it back cheaper later. Now, with GameStop, there was a short squeeze. All those investors who bet on this stock going down had to cut their losses and buy back their short shares as the stock was jumping higher. The SEC has been looking at short selling. Is Gensler planning on making any changes there?
Well, the short answer is he said he has asked his staff to prepare recommendations on a category of types of trading, including short selling. Let's just turn it over to what Gensler specifically had to say about your question there, Allison.
Under Dodd-Frank reforms, the SEC received mandates and authorities to increase transparency in the market. So I've asked SEC staff to prepare recommendations on transparency in short selling, stock loan markets, and something called total return swaps.
Now, he didn't get particularly specific about what that would mean, but the signal is there for everyone to see that Gary Gensler and the SEC are watching this, and they believe that there needs to be some changes in order to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. Now, Gensler, interestingly, he has a background of being an investment banker from decades ago, but over the years, he's cultivated a reputation as being a tough market cop. Someone who can be, confrontational with Wall Street and who kind of suits some of the more economic populist flavors of President Biden's platform, which is one of the reasons he's in this job.
Sahil, today's hearing was pretty respectful, but there's a little heat between Congressman Bill Huizenga and the SEC chair. What happened?
It was an interesting moment that, again, kind of gets to some of the tension between the Republican side and where this new Democratic administration is going in terms of rules on trading on Wall Street. Let's have a listen to that exchange between Congressman Huizenga of Michigan and Gensler.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I do want to be clear. So it is not gambling in a casino.
It's risk-taking, and risk-taking can be in different forms, but I'm trying to use my words carefully. The risk in the capital markets is something that Congress has said, let's ensure we don't have fraud, manipulation, and those risk-taking.
Gambling in a casino, I suspect a number of Americans would be watching that news from months ago and wondering what is the difference between this and gambling in a casino. And I think that is a flavor of that kind of gives viewers a flavor of what to expect when it comes to the tensions between the two parties on this and the complicated issues that someone like Gary Gensler is confronting when deciding what to do about all of this, Allison.
Yeah, he's going to have to make some tough calls. Sahil, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.